a front row seat to hear some great perspectives on healthcare reform from our panelists. I thought they all hit some unique topics within their areas of expertise, and it was very enlightening to see opportunities that are out there for firms that are obvious, but also some opportunities that might not be so obvious. And
the economic downturn, a number of companies turned to different forms of capital from not having the debt markets available for them. And in the private equity world, the equity capital we could provide for them created some opportunities for us to look at companies that we otherwise wouldn't have the chance to do it because they'd be accessing the public markets, the debt markets, and alike. So the downturn facilitated some conversations with ourselves. Valuations were, if you will, the crunch element to it. They felt that they were selling their equity at too cheap a value, but at the end of the day, healthcare did better than other companies during that downturn period of time, and it created a lot of dialogue with some activity actually happening.
I think that the convergence between the tax-exempt and the for-profit or investor-owned healthcare industry is a trend that we're going to see continue in a pretty significant way over the coming months and years. We were recently involved in a transaction with a Catholic system in Boston called Caritas Christi that was obviously a tax-exempt system that has signed an agreement to be acquired by a private equity firm, Cerberus Capital. And that's a really game-changing kind of transaction. There's never been an entire tax-exempt system that has decided to go through a process and actually stay intact but convert to for-profit ownership and by a private equity firm. The access to capital that they will get from that is extraordinary. Caritas was a system that was constrained by the tax-exempt bond markets, and they didn't have the availability of capital to put into their hospitals, to fund their pension plan, and to grow their system that they can get from the investor-owned world. The reaction to that transaction, which is somewhat controversial if you think about it, has been extraordinary. People in Massachusetts, I think, are looking at it and saying that you have one of the largest employers in the state, 13th largest employer in the state of Massachusetts, which is going to become a taxpayer, and it's going to stay intact. It's going to stay intact in Massachusetts as opposed to selling out perhaps to a company that might be based in Nashville or Dallas or someplace else. And I think that it really is for these times where states are constrained, budget problems, where people are very concerned about high unemployment, the convergence of the tax-exempt world with the capital that's available in the private equity world, I think is going to be a really important trend.